Minnesota Vikings are looking to skimp and save as many rooster spots as possible for the 53-man cuts are fastly approaching. As well as, I don't. Do the Vikings have to keep two roster spots open for wide receiver Dan Chisena and safety Dan Chisena, and now back to wide receiver Dan Chisena? I don't know. Just flip flopper. All right, so one spot the Vikings could save a roster position is at linebacker and potentially carry only four linebackers. No, it sounds shocking, right? Like old school slobber knocker football. Like those people just like had a heart attack probably because they're old. But so the Vikings, they really could carry four linebackers, and it does make a ton of sense. So looking back through history, the Vikings under Zimmer starting in 2014, they've carried 8 linebackers that season. Yeah, they carried 8 linebackers on the opening 53 because they had Greenway, stud, Jasper Brinkley, Anthony Barr, Mike Maudie, Gerald Hodges, Audie Cole, Larry Dean, Brandon Watts. A bunch of those guys play great special teams, as well as I think 8 linebackers might be a record on the roster for a non-3-4 team, which is just shocking. 2015, 6, and then 7, 6, 5, 5 each of the past 2 seasons. So, I mean, the Vikings, it would be a bit of a shocker carrying 4, but over the past couple seasons, it has pared down. And also, every single year is different. Like, Vikings don't go that deep at linebacker. They have a stud top 3, as well as Troy Dye, number 4. It could be something a little bit special, but it's Barr, it's Kendricks, it's Wilson. And then it's a big drop. Oh, and then it's Troy Dye. That's a pretty big drop down to Blake Lynch, the UDFA out of Baylor. David Reese II, the UDFA out of Florida, as well as Hardy Nickerson Jr., who they picked up from Cincinnati. As well as they released UDFA linebacker Jordan Fair from Appalachian State. He may be back on the practice squad, but I just don't see anything else, right? Cameron Smith, obviously, is having his open heart surgery. Well, things went well with that. We'll see him next year. Then Ben Gedeon just floating out there on the pup. I don't really see a major case for a 5th linebacker if you don't really have to, right? I like Lynch. I like Reese, but I don't think that you would have any trouble getting them through waivers onto the practice squad. As well as, I mean, the Vikings, to be honest, they don't need more than 2 linebackers on the field at any given point. Vikings played nearly a league-leading 62% of the defensive snaps in nickel in 2019. Kendricks played 86.64% of the snaps. Barr played 85%. Wilson, yes, the third linebacker, yes, the starting linebacker, only played 34.68%. And a lot of the time, that was in replacement of a Barr on the field, or Barr being down on the defensive line. It wasn't so much that they played 3 linebackers. Brothers, who was the 4th linebacker last year, no longer on the team, he played 110 defensive snaps, which is 10.06%. So, again, Barr, Kendricks, Wilson, big drop off to 4, right? But then, yes, what about special teams? That's what backup linebackers primarily do, play a ton of special teams. But Wilson and Brothers played the bulk of the special team snaps last year. Troy Dye could fill in for Kentrell Brothers pretty easily. Gedeon was 3rd on that list. He played 23.81%, but you could sub things out. Like, obviously, you're not going to play Barr or Kendricks on special teams, but you can play an extra tight end. You can play C.J. Ham. You can play Amir Abdullah. You can play safety there. You can do a lot of things to replace Ben Gedeon. And also, like we said, Wilson, frankly, should be the special teams captain this year. Probably should have been last year over J-Ron Curse, but that's another argument for another day. Troy Dye, that's where his bread's going to be buttered right away. I think Dye will be active all 16 games, play some great special teams for the Vikings, as well as keeping guys like Lynch and Reese on the practice squad. That does give you 6 linebackers in your sphere, as well as I think it'd be smart at this stage to keep Gedeon on the pup list, because obviously whatever he's dealing with, likely concussions, he's hasn't gotten back on the field. He hasn't been taken off the pup yet. And that is the flexibility. And sort of the nice thing, if you start a player on preseason pup or NFI, that's the only way that you can get them onto the regular season pup list, which they'll be inactive for the first 6 games of the season. And then you have 2 weeks, or is it 3 weeks, to work their way back into practice, then on the 53. Doesn't count against the 53 at all. So I think the Vikings will be smart at this point. Be like, Gedeon, hey, Ben, if you're going to play this year, we're going to start you on the pup, and then we'll go from there. Gives them some flexibility in terms of roster construction, as well as, I mean, if you're in a pinch, I mean, Harrison obviously is basically an outside linebacker in 22, 20 series number. DJ Wanham does have some stand-up linebacker experience. That might be the only way that he gets on the field as a rookie, man, because they're deep now at edge rusher. Plus, you could always raid the practice squad. Plus, if you have Lynch or Reese or even Jordan Fair on the practice squad, the fact that you have flexibility could bring up 2 practice squad players a week, hence the 55-man rooster, and then put them back down the practice squad without having them be subject to waivers. Now, you can only do that twice per season for each player, but if the Vikings are running thin at linebacker, they could obviously go down that route, or they could bring them up to the 53-man roster. But mainly, like, even if the Vikings do roster more than 4 linebackers, I don't see them having more than 4 active on game day. Yeah, on the game day 48 now. So, yeah, the Vikings are completely top-heavy at linebacker. I think they could save a roster spot if they only decide to carry 4. Bring in an extra defensive tackle or an extra offensive lineman, or hell, even an extra cornerback, or carry 6 wide receivers. It'll be fine. But, yeah, it does make sense for them to only carry 4 linebackers to open up to 53. All right, be your thoughts. 4 linebackers. Let us know in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. Want to support that work? Pull us on the Venmo. But until next time, Skol. Production value.